Okay. What is going on, LBHT crew B? What is going on?
Just another long, hard day. Shout out to my guy Hendo helping me out, finishing up work on time there. Appreciate it.
Salute to Hendo. Appreciate you. I was hanging out with Hendo. I was chopping it up with him and Mr. Galloway last night for hours. We didn't intend for it to be that long, but we had good conversations about things that we are planning on doing in the future. Right? We got a lot of store for you guys, man. Every time we say we have a lot of store for you, we deliver. All right. Me and Hendo had discussed some content that we want to put together for you guys. Um, it's going to be some projects that we're working on, and it's going to be dope. All right. And Mr. Galloway, he just dropped a video yesterday. And I think he's got a video coming tonight. He's got some new music coming tonight. So make sure
That's
you
real
go
good.
over. Yeah.
Caught a
Oh,
sneak
yeah.
peek
Listen
of
to
it.
it. Yeah. It's dope. It's dope. So make sure you subscribe to Mr. Galloway. Okay. MISTERR Galloway. All right. Um, go subscribe. All right. It's I mean, the best hip hop content out there. All right. Okay. We are streaming live. Oh, first of all, it's Wednesday. I'm sorry. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. But if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. We're streaming live on YouTube, Twitter X, Twitch, and Facebook. So wherever you're listening to us or watching us, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. If you're listening to us, all right, on the audio, that's an audio podcast, right? Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. Make sure you share this out with your friends and loved ones. All right. Who do we have here? Who's here first? Who's here first? Bazel's here first. That's who. What's going on, Bazel? Nice to see you, brother. Filthy is back. B says, y'all see Diggs got traded to the Texans. Texans looking scary. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. What's going on, Noah? Noah says, what up, LBHT crew? What's going on with you, Noah? Nice to see you. Let's see. Oh, Filthy is mad. He wants to get into that EDC talk. Don't worry, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. All right. Just Alice says, what's up, LBHT? I hope everyone is doing great. Apparently, EDC is spending too much time at Diddy's mansion to do his job. Oh, you guys are not happy with the lack of action from one EDC. You didn't like the story he told?
Right.
Everybody's keying that the other day. Oh, he's so funny. He's so funny. He's so real, right? Living Legend, what's going on? Shout out to you, man. Salute to you. We still owe him. We still owe Living Legend a t-shirt. Let's try to get that out to him.
Nothing.
We owe him a t-shirt.
It's all Living Legend.
He gave us all the information we needed. We gotta send it to him. We got you, Living Legend. All right, we got to follow through on that. Omar, tell me what's going on. Says, how we doing, LBHT in chat? What's going on with you, Omar? Shout out to you, man. Panthers fans they're feeling good right now. Okay, they're making all the right moves. It's you still got ways to go, but man, some great first steps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jeremy Miller's in the house. Says, hey everyone, what's going on, Jeremy? Nice to see you. Ravens talk with Yolanda. Good evening, LBHT family. These Ravens. Yeah, I feel you. Yolanda. Thanks for coming through, Yolanda. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to Ravens Talk with Yolanda. All right.
And Life with Yolanda.
And Life with Yolanda. That's right. She has 2 channels. Subscribe to both. They're both great. What's going on? Jay the Six says, what it do, crew? What's good with you, Jay? Got a guy MJ in the house. Says, yeah, I sent me today. What'd you send?
He sent himself to the show.
Oh, you sent you? Oh, he sent himself. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Chris and Coach did not have a video this week. They're working on some stuff, reviewing tape because they actually review this stuff. Okay, they actually watch film. They watch film. Okay, so they need a little bit more time to break down some of those players. But trust me, it'll be well worth the wait. Okay. What's going on? Osman says hello, everyone. What's good with you, Osman? Raven Ron in the house says, what up, LBHT? Drift Sports. What's going on? Drift Sports says, finally a good show to watch. All right, I'll take it. Says, what's up, fellas? Hit that like button and subscribe, folks. Yes, listen to Drift Sports. All right. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. All right. Let's see who else we got. Agent E in the house. What's up, Agent E? Who else we got? We got Living Big with Big Reg. What's good? Says what's good, family. Salute to you. Let's see. Living Legend says Jose and Brodny is all love like a tennis match. Hey, we got you, man. We got you. Also, Living Legend, longtime supporter of the show. Living Legend is a producer. Okay, so if you need some beats, hit up Living Legend. He's got an album out as well. It's him and his friend. I think is it called Living Legend. Drop the link to it. We bought it. I think you put out like a year ago. We bought it. Put the link in the chat. All right. Go support. It's dope. It's dope. All right. Layback Shark says, "What's up, fellas? What's up with you, Layback?" All right. Who else we got in here? My friend Antonio. What's going on, Antonio? Says happy hump day, guys. Ain't nobody surprised by EDC. Man, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Attitude Pop, what's going on? All right. All right. We got everybody. We got everybody. And we got a donation. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. I'm upset. What did Yolanda say? She's upset by something. I missed the
let me pull it up here. So I gotta keep this in mind because we're resetting the points today. I'm upset about other teams doing right by their quarterback while the Ravens just fill in the blank.
There you go. All right. Yeah. All right. What's going on, Alex? Shout out to Alex. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Okay. So B is resetting the points. Okay. It's a new month. All right. We gotta announce the winners of last month. Okay. There's gonna be whoever got the most points last month gets a prize, and then we're gonna do a drawing for anybody that has at least 1,000 points for a $25 Amazon gift card. All right. That's gonna be coming up soon. Obviously, you guys can't wait to talk about EDC. Okay, and Panthers, we're gonna be talking about it. Draft is near, so we're gonna be talking about some targets, who they should be looking at. All right, we're gonna be discussing a few other things. There's actually a lot going on for not a whole lot going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact, and B has a Black History fact for you.
Welcome to this week's Black History Fact. William Wells Brown was significant in the abolitionist movement and African American literature. Born into slavery in Kentucky, he faced the brutality of slavery from an early age. Despite his enslaved status, Brown managed to educate himself, learning to read and write with the help of sympathetic individuals. In 1834, he seized an opportunity to escape to freedom while aboard a steamboat docked in Ohio. Brown became deeply involved in the abolitionist cause, delivering powerful speeches against slavery. As a steamboat man, he helped more than 60 fugitives find freedom in the North. He traveled extensively throughout the United States, advocating for the rights of African Americans and working to end the institution of slavery. In 1847, Brown published his groundbreaking autobiography, Narrative of William W. Brown, a Fugitive Slave. This narrative not only recounted his own experiences, but also exposed the horrors of slavery to a wider audience. It became a bestseller and further solidified Brown's reputation as an influential voice in the abolitionist movement. In 1849, Brown moved to England, where he continued lecturing and writing. Brown's literary talents extended beyond autobiography. In 1853, he published Clotel, often considered the first novel written by an African American. The novel explores themes of slavery, racism, and the complexities of identity, drawing from Brown's own experiences and historical events. The following year, some of his British friends, helped him purchase his freedom so he could return to the U.S. Once here, he immediately resumed his work as an abolitionist and writer. During the Civil War, he recruited African American soldiers for the Union Army and worked tirelessly to support the cause of emancipation. Later in life, he opened a medical practice in Boston, where he lived until he died in 1884. Brown is remembered as one of the most prominent civil rights activists of his time, and has since been insisted into the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame, and had an elementary school in Lexington named in his honor.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do the transition there, but yeah, it is what it is.
Okay. All right then.
All
All right, you got the transition early.
But that's all right.
Okay, all right, that's all right. You know, we're still testing out this a little bit. All right, if you guys missed last week, we got a brand new background. Okay, we got some transition scenes and whatnot. All right, so there you go. I should be coming in a little bit clearer now. That sound louder?
Huh? Sounds to me.
Okay, you're no help. You're no help.
Whatever.
All right. Okay, so
whatever.
They want to get right into this. So the breaking news. This wasn't even going to be the topic today. This is breaking news.
Oh, you want to start with that?
Well, yeah, because they're going off in the comments. All right, and there's a comment that I need to bring up that I need to address. Right, but first let's
NFL news.
Okay, NFL news. Okay, Stefon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans. Of course, the Ravens were interested, but couldn't make it happen. All right, now. I just want to go ahead and address this comment right off the bat. Shout out to Donovan Thomas. Salute to you. Thanks for coming through. It says, don't think Diggs was a good fit for us, to be honest. All right, talking about the Ravens. Donovan, what you're doing right now is called coping. Okay. This is a 100% untrue statement. There is nothing that Stefon Diggs cannot do. He is an elite wide receiver. He's one of the best in the league. And if a player like that can't fit your offense, then it's the coach that's the problem, not the player. You find a way to make it work for a player like that. That's not the issue. The issue is we just don't get players like that. It's not that he's not a good fit. It's that our general manager, Eric DeCosta, won't get a player like that. Okay. And if you really want to keep it real, I mean, we said it before, Eric DeCosta in this organization doesn't care about Lamar Jackson. They don't. They're not interested in building him up. They're not interested in protecting him. They're not interested in giving him weapons, right? They just want him. They want to use him to maintain a certain level of stability. They don't care about making him a superstar. They don't care about him winning a Super Bowl. They just want to maintain. They want to win. They want to win their way. And their way isn't by letting Lamar shine. That's just what it is.
Yeah, and it's also, it's partially that, and it's also them just not wanting to part with assets for offensive players. And this didn't even cost much. This is a 2025 second-round pick, but they view that as too much to spend on an offensive talent. They don't think it's too much to spend on defense, but they do think it's too much to spend for offensive players because they just don't believe in offense like that.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to. I was going to send you a message. Check your mic audio too on your side, just to be sure. I don't know why this thing might have it turned mine down. I don't know why it turned it down. Just check yours. But yeah, they just don't believe. They don't believe in offense. That's why we created a hashtag defund the defense, because that's where they put their focus. I can tell you turned it up. I can hear it. They put their focus on defense. They showed it this offseason. They franchise tagged Justin Madubuike, and they gave him a huge deal. And they pretty much did nothing on offense. Yeah, they signed Derrick Henry. That's cool, right? I know we kind of had our criticisms of that because we felt like they should have gotten somebody like Josh Jacobs or whatever. But Derrick Henry's cool, right? That's fine. But what else? We need to protect Lamar. We need to get some guys on the O-line. and they got rid. We needed 2 guards, and then they got rid of the starting right guard or right tackle.
Yeah.
Right. And there is no answer for how they're going to be replaced. There's no obvious answer. The only answer is, they're going to work it out. Oh, well, the answer might be on the team, right? That's not a good answer, right? That's not a plan. That's just, we hope it works out. But you don't take that chance on defense. On defense, we got to have the answer. Our offense, we like our guys.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the way it's always been with Baltimore. And I think as long as John Harbaugh's there and Eric DeCosta, who's the Aussie disciple, is there, that's probably just the way that it's going to be. If coming up short 6 years in a row has not, changed their philosophy and changed the way they do things, it's just not going to change.
Right. Yeah. 2-time league MVP, and you still don't make him the focus. CJ Stroud was a rookie last year, played excellent, and they said, we found our guy, now let's give him more. In his second year, Lamar Jackson has never had a wide receiver even close to being Stefon Diggs. We hope that Zay Flowers can be that guy. Okay. Me and B really like Zay Flowers. We see some star potential in him, but he hasn't done it yet. We don't project over here. Okay. Diggs is that guy.
D-Fang says, how y'all think Diggs was going to act when Lamar throws for 180 yards per game? Him with Stroud is a great fit, and they have the money. Lamar threw for 230 a game last year. So, as always, D-Banks, what are you talking about?
You guys always make excuses for why your GM Eric DeCosta can't get things done. Right? Don't make excuses for him. Right? He's the current league MVP. I don't think Stefon Diggs, especially when you're competing for Super Bowls, is going to have a problem, playing for, doesn't have to have the ball every single time. You guys make excuses for every top wide receiver that we don't get. Right? Mm-hmm. This is a common theme. Oh, well, he's going to be a diva. He's going to, he won't be a fit here. What happens when he doesn't get the ball? You used to ask that same question about Odell. But then when we finally sign Odell, who's over the hill, right? He's not the same Odell anymore. Then it's a great fit. Defend EDC now. We going in on EDC today. This ain't even the topic that we wanted to discuss about EDC. We haven't even gotten there yet.
EDC deflected from what we were going to talk about today by not getting this done. We should mention what the entire trade was. He was traded to Houston.
Okay, so what's up, Darren? Shout out to you, man. This is actually something. Okay, we'll discuss this. Let's talk about the whole conversation, and let's talk about what this means for the Bills.
Yeah. So they traded Stefon Diggs, a 6th rounder this year and a 5th rounder next year, for a 2025 second round pick from Houston, which was actually Minnesota's pick. So that's the full trade. And Buffalo has gotten rid of a lot of talent this year. They had to make some tough decisions to get under the cap. Some of them, some guys they just wanted to move on from. I think they're kind of retooling. They've had this roster for several years and haven't really broken through. And I think they feel like they're probably not going to get there with the team as it was constructed. The Stefon Diggs trade, I don't think was really part of that thinking. I think he was unhappy and wanted out.
Yeah, because the Diggs is the biggest headline for the Bills, but they've let a few people go. I know Jordan Poyer they let walk. There's a couple other players, a few of them on defense, right?
And they let go Tre'Davious White.
Yeah,
they let go. I don't have the list up in front of me, but they let go of several big name players.
Yeah, so it does kind of feel like they're blowing the team up a little bit. And Darren asked, are they giving up? And that's funny, right? Because, Josh Allen is considered to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But this is the question mark. And I like Josh Allen. He's had some great years. right? Those Bills teams, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but they've had some great runs, just like the Ravens. But this is the question, and this is a question that we said was going to start happening to all the other top quarterbacks that Lamar gets compared to. What happens when you start to lose talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of player is Josh Allen going to be? Because before Stefon Diggs got there, he was terrible. Now, granted, that was a rookie year, right? And the team surrounding him, started putting talent around him, which is what you're supposed to do. And he took off, and he put in the work as well. It wasn't just I don't think it was 100% Stefon Diggs. I think Josh Allen can play. But how good is he going to play without that superstar talent? Lamar always played without superstar talent. He played mainly without talent around him. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And it does look like they're blowing up the team. But again, the offseason is still going on. We'll see what they do to kind of rebound from that. But yeah, if you're a Bills fan right now, you gotta be asking yourself that, like, is that it?
Yeah, and this is again. I hate to do it to you, D-Banks, but it's already the last time I'm going to address you in the show today, because you said Lamar's in the middle in all the passing stats, but Lamar he was last year, 8th in completion percentage, 11th in touchdowns. But there are 26 quarterbacks who threw more interceptions than Lamar. Yeah, he was in the middle of the pack throwing the ball, but guess why? Because y'all don't have receivers. Maybe he would throw for more yards if you had better receivers.
You want him to lead the league in passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage, but you don't want to get him anybody that can catch. It's up the rookie.
It makes no sense. But we know what D-Banks is about. So let's go ahead and move
on. Shout out to D-Banks, man. Thanks for coming through. D-Banks always keeps it interesting here. Okay. One Sessions, what's going on? Says Ravens seriously need to do something. Maybe go get Debo or Ayuk. Yeah, because they can't fall behind another year. Well, so I'm going to take my shots at EDC, because I always do, because we keep seeing talent go other places and we don't get in on that, and there's always an excuse why we can't get it. What's going on,
Hendo? Appreciate you.
Yes, thanks for coming through. Hendo put out a video today too. Go check that out. It was a mock draft video. But what was I going to say? Yeah, yes. Deebo Samuels was a player that was rumored to be a target for the Ravens. I'm waiting, because there's speculation. It's all pure speculation. There's not anything that's been reported or anything like that. But there's speculation that the Deebo Samuel trade could happen after June 1st, because it saves the 49ers a ton of money, right? So it's a possibility that they have something in the works. They're waiting, right? We all know that the Ravens don't do anything in the first round of free agency. Typically, they wait until after the draft in the second round of free agents when players get cut and whatnot to make their move. So, yes, there's still time for this team to get some good guys, right? But to me, that's you trying to get lucky. That's you trying to see, okay, what do you have left over, and how can we get lucky with who was out there, who could be a cap cut or whatnot, and how can we get a player that way? I don't like that's taking a chance, because it's always on the offensive side, right? I don't like gambling with the team that was just in the AFC championship game and we're trying to get to the Super Bowl. That's not a winning strategy, and it hasn't worked for us. Okay, you have to be aggressive. So I mean, if they get Deebo Samuel, that's cool. We still gotta fix this O-line. I don't hear us talking about that nearly enough. I don't hear anybody saying, hey man, we still have, there's still this guy that we can get, right? All I hear is we can go to the draft and get some guys. We only have one first round pick, and it's not a high pick.
Yeah, Ravens fans seem pretty resigned to the fact that nothing is going to happen prior to the draft. It's unfortunate, because they have to make something happen before the draft. They look, and this isn't even a shot at Eric DeCosta. No GM could fill all those holes in one draft. Like, the overwhelming majority of players who come into the league are not good.
Yeah.
And even a good percentage of the ones who turn out to be good aren't good in their rookie year. So you can't depend on them to start immediately.
Correct. Now I'll say this: they don't have to fill every hole from the draft. Okay, if one of the guys that we have on our team steps up, we get somebody in the draft, and they find somebody in free agency or trade or whatnot, you're fine. Or even if we're left with one hole, like we didn't fill the right guard spot. Okay, like we just don't have a good right guard. It's fine as long as everything else is pretty much solid. You can work with that. But are they even going to do that? Every time we say, hey, they can do this still, they can still do that, they don't do it. So
and that's why I'm saying looking at the draft, because they're sitting by and letting everyone in free agency get signed, essentially. They're just, you have to, in order to have a decent vet on the line, you have to go and sign one. And they're not doing it,
Yeah. So, this, Diggs, it was another player, we said it. We knew he's going to be available. I mean, he pretty much put it out there that
that's the third time they've missed out on him.
Yeah. Yeah. And every time we say call around and ask for this player, fans always make it seem like, oh, that player isn't really available. Oh, we can't get that player. And that player goes to another team. You're just like, oh, damn, he went there. He went for that, and then it's, oh, well, he wouldn't have been a good fit. Oh, well, he would have cost too much against the cap. Oh, we have to pay this. We have to do that. You have to do all these mental gymnastics to explain why you couldn't have gotten a player for your MVP quarterback. There's always a reason. It's always been that case. It's always about money. Even though when he was on his rookie deal, and you had money, you still didn't have money. It was still about, oh, well, we can't get that guy. We can't afford it. You can never afford it, but you just paid a defensive tackle a ton of money. How could you afford that?
Just paid a middle linebacker $20 million a year, which is well beyond the going rate for middle linebackers.
Facts. You paid your safety $70 million. How about you start there? Hence, hashtag defund the defense. Okay. We found your money. There you go.
But since this is the NFL segment, man, great move for Houston.
Great move for Houston.
I don't love it for the Bills, but I mean, it seemed like that relationship was kind of at its end.
Yeah.
And I imagine they're going to be looking at wide receiver in the draft as well, along with a lot of other teams.
CJ Stroud has Stefon Diggs, Tank Dell,
Nico Collins, John Mechie, Dalton Schultz. They just went and got it. Wasn't it Joe Mixon? They brought in a running back.
Oh, that's right.
So, they see talent in their young quarterback, and they are, investing in him, doing what they can to surround him with players so that he can take them further.
Yeah. MDT Sports says he's glad we didn't get Stefon. All right, and you're glad with just being a team.
Look, I'll be glad they didn't get Diggs too if they get Justin Jefferson or Ayuk. Yeah. But until then, I'm not glad about it at all.
I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm glad we didn't get him. But I'll be okay. Right? I mean, Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league.
Mm-hmm.
We could make an argument about Ayuk and Samuel, who, if they're better than Diggs. I don't know if they are. But they're all really good. Right? They're all on that level. So if I want Diggs, but if we get one of those other guys, okay, cool. We're good. But just saying, oh well, I'm glad we didn't get him. He's too much of a diva. He'd have been a headache. Man, hell no. Hell no. I don't want to hear that. We're trying to win a Super Bowl right now. What's going on, Coach? Thanks for coming through. Shout out to you.
What's up, Coach?
Texans looking like the second best in the AFC to Kansas City now. Yes, they said the betting odds, they're third in Super Bowl betting odds now, behind Kansas City and San Francisco. Yeah. And as they should be, when you show that you can play and then they add talent on top of that, not get rid of talent. Yeah. Imagine maximizing the offensive talent when you have a stud QB on their rookie deal. I can't. What's up, Shaheen?
Crazy.
Thanks for coming through. All right. Okay. So, all right. Do you want to keep the theme of NFL news? You want to get into?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well. We can go right into it. Since this is where some of the Ravens fans want to get all of their talent anyway. Let's talk about who they should be looking at in the draft.
Okay.
They're picking 30th.
Yeah.
As of right now. The Ravens are always a threat to trade back. So it's not a guarantee that they make that pick at 30. But if they do stick at 30, we've seen Cooper DeJean mocked to them. I've seen Kool-Aid McKinstry mocked to them. Coach has talked about the edge rusher from UCLA. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Latu. I can't remember how to say it, but he said, if he's there, that's going to be the pick. We've seen a couple O linemen go to Baltimore in mock drafts, but where do you think they need to go at pick 30?
So I think it either needs to be a tackle if there's a tackle there, right, or guard, or they need to trade up to. I really top choice, trade up and get a tackle. I don't care if you have to use your second round pick, third round pick. I don't care. Trade up, to that 13, 15, slot and get you a guy that looks like. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but somebody that looks like, yes, he's plug and play. He looks like he has a very good chance of being a starting left tackle in the league. You get that guy. He can play right tackle this year. Slide over to left tackle, maybe next year, because Ronnie's going to hold down the left tackle slot this year, and we need a right tackle. But I want to get a guy like that in the first round. Okay, we'll worry about everything else later, but we have to hit on that pick. If we stay at 30, Chris always says that there's plenty of guys in this draft. We can still get somebody. Get whether it's a tackle or a guard, I don't care. Get somebody that we know can play right there. I know there are wide receivers out there that people like, but I don't like any of them better than Stefon Diggs. Okay, the Stefon Diggs, like that's the type of player we need right there, a playmaker, and he went for a second round pick. There's nothing we can get in the second round that's going to be Stefon Diggs, right? Unless we get extremely lucky.
Terry says Texans getting weapons and we talking O-line. Get a tackle in round 2. Spoiler alert, Terry, you need 3 O-linemen. So yes, it will be O-line in round 2 as well.
Hey, guess what? Houston has O-linemen too.
But I don't agree. I don't think that they should trade up just because they have so many holes right now. And I don't think that there are. And it is a deep class at the O-line. So I don't think that they should use multiple picks moving up and grabbing one of these guys, because there's not any Orlando pace type of tackle, and they wouldn't be able to trade up that high anyway if there was one, right? So like even the area that they're going to be trading into, those are all guys with questions. I think they're going to get a similar prospect at 30 as they would at 15.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, I think that any draft class has a certain number of elite prospects, and it's generally not. It's not going to be 15 of them. It's going to be 4 to 8, somewhere in there. And then once you get past that, then you have a wave of guys who are pretty similar, and then you have a little bit of a drop off, and another wave of guys who are pretty similar. So I think that if you're talking about trading up, and realistically for Baltimore, again, you're not going to be going past the middle of the round just because the cost is going to be too much. You're going to be getting a similar.
He's canceling his Houston trip.
A similar level of player. So I think they should go ahead and sit there at 30. Take whoever they think is the best O-lineman for them at 30, and then come back in round 2. And I think there's going to be still really good wide receiver choices for them in round 2. I can see them trading up in round 2. That's going to cost less, and then you'll kind of land in a spot with a lot of great options at wide receiver there.
I think this. I mean, just the way it's going, I think first and second round picks need to go O-line, right? Get a good guard there. If there's a prospect there. I think second round, it's more about who's a better talent there. You see a wide receiver that's a higher prospect, higher on your list, or a guard that's higher on your list. But go with one of them. But I really want to double down and get another O lineman. And again, I hate to have to rely on 2 rookies, or 3, but we have to make sure we get guys that can play, man.
Well,
Because
that's my concern is I wouldn't be comfortable just throwing out a late second round pick, and being your day one starter essentially.
correct.
You know what
I
I mean?
agree.
I think you're much more likely to get a starter, a wide receiver in round 2 than a starter at O-line, especially given Eric DeCosta's history in drafting O-linemen up to this point.
We don't do good at drafting wide receivers either, right?
We've done better than O-line.
Yeah, we drafted them higher though.
Yeah,
true. And
Devin Duvernay is better than the O-lineman they've taken in the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean Bredesen did well in his Powers did well in his last year.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, and that's why I would not want them to use that necessarily that second round pick on the O-lineman, because a lot of O-linemen take a while to develop. They need guys who can step in and start immediately. A guy who they draft in the second round who's good in 3 years isn't nearly as valuable to this team as going and getting a wide receiver who can play immediately, because who knows, I mean, where this team is going to be 3 years from now. They're playing for a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah. Somebody block Terry. Okay, we're not gonna start with the gibberish. Okay, we're outdated because we think we need O-line. All right, put him on timeout. Don't block him. Put him in timeout. I'm not sure if he's trolling or what. That could be one of Suge's burner accounts. Just put him in timeout for now. No, you have to protect your quarterback. I mean, you're the same person that will say we don't need O-linemen, and as soon as Lamar can take 2 steps backwards, will complain about how bad the O-line is looking. You need offensive line first. That's why I'm putting more emphasis on it. Yes, I want to get another wide receiver, but man, we have to show up the O-line. If he has more time to do what he needs to do out there, if they can open up holes for Derrick Henry, that will help the offense a lot more. Okay, because if you want to go the other route and just get talent around him, well, you should have been doing that. You start with getting Stefon Diggs, right? You trade that second round pick, get Stefon Diggs, right? And then you want to come back around and get somebody in that first round, right? And say, look, we just gonna, we're gonna kill you with the talent. All right, I mean, I still don't feel good about the O-line, but now you're talking, right? But that's not what we did. So we have to protect Lamar.
Yeah, and listen, the offensive line thing, yeah, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They had an unbelievable wide receiver core. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, their number 3 receiver was a guy who was a number 1 previously.
Terry's his burner account.
Yeah, and they had Joe Mixon and they had CJ Uzomah. They had incredible weapons around him. And guess what? They lost the Super Bowl because they couldn't block Aaron Donald on that last play, right?
Oh yeah, people love bringing that up.
The Chiefs got to the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay and they lost because they couldn't block.
Yeah.
It's a very rare team that will be able to win consistently without being able to block up front. So yeah, Agent E says if Malik Neighbors is there in round 2, he thinks they should get him. Yes, I think if a top 5 player is there in round 2, the Ravens should draft him as well. I agree.
At some point, I mean, I won't. Look, yes, yeah. If he's still there in round 2, you have to start asking yourself what's going on, right? But there are times you have to get the pick that's not the sexy pick. Okay, that's offensive line. Nobody likes getting offensive linemen, right? But you have to get those guys, and even if you have to sacrifice talent to get that offensive lineman, when your GM, okay, EDC puts Lamar in this situation where it doesn't look good, right? Doesn't look good for protection. That's when you have to sacrifice that type of talent. So I don't care who's there. I mean, it won't be Malik Neighbors there, so we can already rule that out. I don't care who's there at 30. We need to get an O lineman because Falele, Salah, no, I don't feel good about those guys. What comment are you looking at, B?
Alex said completely dominated the league in 2019 with the Seth Roberts Memorial wide receiver core because the O-line was that good. Right. Yeah. And look, again, there are a lot of different ways to win in the NFL. There's not one way to do it, but there are ways that are easier. Yes, you can win. You can win as a defense and run first team. It's just a lot harder. You can win without an O-line. It's just a lot harder. You can win without a quarterback. You just have to have great talent everywhere else on the roster. It's a lot harder. Why try to do it the hard way when you can do it the easy way? You have the quarterback to be able to do it the easy way.
The best talent on your team is your quarterback.
Okay? What do you mean? What if you draft a lineman and it doesn't pan out? What if you draft anything and it doesn't pan out? What if you trade that pick and whoever you trade it for doesn't pan out? What do you mean?
Right, like it doesn't matter who you pick. It's a risk, right? Because they're unproven. But we have to go for the positions that we need, okay? And we need offensive linemen more than we need wide receivers.
I have a question too. Like D Barnes, what if you woke up tomorrow and you weren't a Lamar hater? What then? Let's try that out next Wednesday. How about that?
So, I mean, he said serious question, by the way, just asking. Yeah, that's your answer. He said, I just want to hear your scenario. Yeah, I mean, but that's what it is. Like, it's always, we had the same argument when Sonny came on, right? Well, what if it doesn't work out? But he was asking with proven wide receivers, right? Well, if it doesn't work out? Well, then it doesn't work out. What happens if the guys that you're relying on, we have Falele at home? What happens when they don't work out? Okay, because these are guys that have shown that they can't play yet. Now I know B, you think Falele can develop into a good tackle, but he's not there yet.
Smart guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible one of these guys can step up. It's possible, but they haven't shown anything yet. We are trying to win a Super Bowl, right? You can't take chances like that. You can't just say, "Oh, it's going to work out." That's projection. You're projecting something that they haven't done onto them, saying that it's going to work out. And then when it doesn't work out, because you're not really invested in those guys, they haven't really invested in those guys. You just say, "Oh, well, they suck. Whatever. Moving on. Get rid of them." Right?
Yeah.
But there's no help coming. Like Owe and Ojabo, Killer Cam said. Yeah, what happens when you get guys that just don't work out? And I don't think Owe and Ojabo are bad, but they're not working out.
Back. You heard Owe.
He said, "Wait, Killer Cam, Owe isn't improving."
Okay.
Yeah. That's an issue we had with Owe when he got drafted. They said it on draft day that he was going to be a project. You don't draft projects in the first round. You get guys that you think can help you right now. And we knew he was going to be a project. And I think Owe did fine last year. And I think, Ojabo, yes, the injuries, I mean, they've kept him from getting on the field. But I think when he gets on the field, I think he'll be fine. But we could have done better with those picks, right? Like, we need to get guys like that. None of that helps Lamar. Getting guys that will turn out to be good on offense or defense, right? 2 or 3 years or 4 years in some cases. That's not enough. We need guys that can play right now, especially if you're going to rely on it. You're not going to go and get a good veteran. You're not going to make a trade, right? You're relying on guys that you draft. They need to perform.
Just Al has a question here. He says, "What do you guys think goes through EDC's mind when a trade like this goes down? Is he indifferent? Does he think he screwed up?" I don't think he's indifferent or think he's screwed up. I think that they just don't believe that Stefon Diggs is worth that compensation.
They don't value offense. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's why since the beginning of this show we said they need a philosophical shift in Baltimore. very early on, I said they need a clean house, because this is just, it's not that they're wrong. It's that this is just the way they think.
Yeah.
You know, they think, hey, we can win with defense. We can win with the run game, and that's how we're going to do it. You know, and I disagree. I think it's too difficult a task. And, you know, we've been doing it for 6 years with Lamar Jackson and haven't gotten it done.
What's going on? He said he's going to call Ozzy on EDC. Ozzy is culpable in this too. He's still in the building. You know, this philosophy did not start with EDC. It's just that when Ozzy was running things, it was a different league. Okay. So Ozzy got the benefit from a league where you could get it done on defense. And Ozzy was just better at scouting than EDC. Okay. Even though he still contributes now to the scouting. So, I mean, he's partly to blame on this as well. But, you know, Ozzy, he drafted legends. Right. Yeah. And you know, you could say he got lucky sometimes. Everybody gets lucky. But we knew when Ozzy drafted O-linemen, they were going to work out. Right. Working out with EDC. Yeah. So, I mean, there's differences there. So, you know, Ozzy is just Ozzy, you know, Hall of Famer for a reason. Right. Like, you can't compare the two. Like, EDC is not Ozzy. What are you gonna say?
No, D-Bank's asking, so you guys would mock lineman in round 1 and receiver in round 2, correct? What are y'all drafting in round 3?
I would draft 2 linemen, 1 and 2.
Yeah, and look, all of this depends on how the board falls, right? I mean, and it also depends on what they do between now and the draft. I saw your question, Banks, about trading 30 for Ayuk, you know, and if we would want to do that, right? And again, yeah, ideally, sure. If you asked me that a few weeks ago, I said, yeah, absolutely, do that right away. I think Ayuk is a great talent. But, you know, with the way the offseason has gone, you would have to guarantee me that they're going out and signing multiple experience, you know, veterans with starting experience, so you can feel somewhat comfortable with the line, right? If you're asking me on draft day and you're still looking at starting Andrew Voorhees, Daniel Faalele, and Ben Cleveland, I'm going to say, no, don't trade that pick for Brandon Ayuk. Draft your linemen.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So it all depends. It depends on what you do between now and then. I mean, I couldn't give you an answer for round 3 as of right now. I mean, if you want me to just throw out a position in terms of like what they need, then I'm going to say tackle in round 1, wide receiver round 2, guard round 3.
All right. So Darius, I'm gonna bring up your comment, but just so you know, we don't do the all caps thing. The only person that can type in all caps is Ilax Lens. He, you know, there's a specific reason why he has to type in all caps, and he's not even doing it right now. But don't do all caps. I'm just letting you know. He says Ozzy wasn't lucky when you keep getting it right. He didn't always get it right. He got it wrong a lot of times. Yeah, he got it wrong a whole lot of times.
Ozzy was pretty terrible at drafting wide receivers too.
Wide receivers, quarterback. Did you forget about Kyle Bowler? I mean, he got Lamar, so I mean, it's all forgiven. But
yeah, Kyle Bowler, Chris Redmond,
Elvis Gerback. Oh man, don't get me started. Do not get me started, because the greatest defenses, I think, were after the 2000 defense, which is coined as the greatest defense of all time. But I think the years after, when he got Ed Reed, when he got Suggs, and he got Nada, were better than that defense. But we had Kyle Bowler. Right.
Yeah, he did draft Lamar and Joe, and listen, Joe's not all that great. I mean, if we're being honest, no, you know, he was an all right quarterback, but no, look,
he's great. Obviously,
we're not saying anything about Ozzy before he won. Yeah, he won. Yeah. Are they winning now? He said they said he's still in the building.
Rashad Perriman,
right? Is he not expected to do his job now? I mean, if he's not, then go home, right? I mean, listen, John Harbaugh's won too. A lot of y'all want John Harbaugh fired.
Oh, right? You don't say. How many chips did Ozzy win? He won 2.
In like
2 decades.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we're far removed from that. Again, but this isn't an argument about Ozzy. We love Ozzy. We just said EDC is not.
But
Ozzy.
Nobody's above criticism.
No, right? Not at all.
I mean, y'all remember Matt Elam and Arthur Brown? The new Ray Lewis and Ed Reed.
What's the Chiefs GM? What's his name?
Oh, I don't even know. I want to say Veach.
I forget.
I
He's got 3 Super Bowls. It didn't take him 20 years. Right? Like, yes, Ozzy's great, but he had his flaws too. EDC, not great. I can't even call him good right now. I can't. People say, "Oh, he's one of the best GMs in the league." No, that Chiefs GM is the best in the league. EDC's not even close to him. Right? We need to strive for that. Stop settling. You know, he said definitely. He thinks he said Cards. We meant Harbs. Harbs got to go if nothing happens this year. It's been time for Harbs to go. I'm on to EDC. In my mind, Harbaugh should have been fired 2, maybe 3 years ago, and it's time to look at EDC. He better hit on this draft. He has to hit on this draft. It's not one of these things where we have to give it time. Typically you got to give it time and see how guys turn out. Not when you're relying on these guys. He better hit right now.
Yeah, and we talked about that on Monday, right? And how you got to wait several years to evaluate draft classes, and that's true.
Yeah.
Like the players, they go through their development, and it goes at whatever speed it's going to go at for that player. But every team is different. In Baltimore right now, they've put themselves, voluntarily put themselves in a position where they are going to have to depend on some of these rookies.
Yeah.
At this point, there's still, obviously, like we say, there's still time before the draft and before the season. So they could go out there and try to plug some of those holes with veterans. But as of right now, it looks like they're going to be heavily relying on rookies in some key positions.
All right, we got 90 people over here on YouTube. Hey, Twitter really been pushing our stuff, man. We got over 50 people over there. Make sure you hit that like button. Okay, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are close to 2,000 subscribers, so go ahead and help us get over that hump. Okay, and then I'm gonna tell you, sign up on your burner account and subscribe again, so we can get to 3,000 subscribers. Okay, but come on, we got goals here. Let's hit those goals.
Listen, people, email addresses are free. Why don't you get us to 10K?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
How long that'll take you? That'll take you about 10 minutes.
I don't know anybody that doesn't have more than one email address. You have multiple email addresses. Okay, use them all to subscribe. All right, put in the work that EDC isn't doing. Okay.
Speaking of putting in work, though.
Shh. No. Keep that down.
Let's talk about these Carolina Panthers real quick.
Let's talk about the Panthers, man.
Speaking of putting in work.
Yes.
Because that's all Dan Morgan been doing.
Dan Morgan is off to a good start. He's off to a good start on paper.
EDC is getting all that sleep that Dan Morgan been missing the last few weeks.
Yeah. But okay. We're giving again, all this is real time, by the way. Okay. EDC could absolutely turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He has time. Everything that we're concerned about right now, he could shut us up with by the time the season starts, and we're going to give him credit if he does that. I want to give him credit. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But we're reacting to things in real time. Right now it looks bad. But for the Panthers, it's looking pretty good. And we were kind of looking at the Dan Morgan hire a little crooked.
I mean, listen, and I hate to say it, like, he had to quit playing football because his brain was rattling around in his head. I was like, that's not the best. But I love Dan Morgan. Obviously, he's a Hurricane and a Panther, and he's been doing what seems to be a pretty good job up to now. Right? Mm-hmm. They went out and they signed Robert Hunt, who is one of the top offensive linemen, one of the top guards available. They went out and they got Damian Lewis as well to really shore up the offensive line. They signed Josh Nijman as a backup tackle, kind of a swing tackle for them. They went out and they got Deontay Johnson via trade with the Steelers, giving up Dante Jackson and kind of a late pick swap. And Dante Jackson's a guy who they were planning on releasing anyway. So they essentially got him for nothing.
Yeah.
They've gone out and they've signed a few guys on defense to fill in holes. Josie Jewell, Ashawn Robinson. They got Jadeveon Clowney. They got Caleb on Chase on, DJ Wonnum at edge. those because they did trade Brian Burns undervalue, which, look, I would have preferred that Morgan get the deal done with Brian Burns and he was still in Carolina, but that is a situation that kind of predates him being the GM.
Yeah.
That's something that he kind of inherited. So that sucks, but
yeah, the 2 first-round picks that was offered for him, that ship has sailed, right? And that's not Dan Morgan's fault. It hurts.
It does,
right? They are offered 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns, and the Panthers turned it down, and then they also didn't get a deal done. That's they that's not Dan Morgan.
That was pretty awful. It's pretty awful. They are still looking to sign Stefon Gilmore back. He played for Carolina a couple years ago. They let him walk for nothing. They kept C.J. Henderson instead, and now Dan Morgan has jettisoned Dante Jackson and C.J. Henderson, and they're looking to get Stefon Gilmore back, who was teammates with Jadeveon Clowney. So I think they're making smart signings on the defense. They're having to overpay for guys because they won 2 games last year, but Bryce Young's on his rookie deal, and this is the time when you overpay players to surround your quarterback with talent. Now, moving forward in the draft, obviously they still have a lot of holes. They were a 2-win team. They're picking 33rd. It's the first pick in the second round, and then they're picking 39th, which is the pick they got from New York in the Brian Burns trade. And obviously they don't have their first round pick, which would have been number 1 overall because they traded it in their move up to get Bryce Young last year.
Yeah.
So, when they get on the clock and at number 33, the start of day 2, up until this point, my thing has been just trade back. You have too many holes. And there's going to be someone there, hopefully a quarterback, who teams are kind of desperate to move up and get, right? And you can get some good value for that 33rd pick. I still kind of hope that's the case. And now after trading Burns, they do have that 39th pick. So they'll still be able to get a guy at the top of the second round and pick up some extra draft picks. But if they don't, if they decide to just go ahead and stay there at 33, they're kind of in a spot, with their offseason so far where they can really go best player that they have on their board. I think it would be wise to go wide receiver in that spot, just because I think there's going to be a good amount of talent there, and they have to fill out that wide receiver room some more. And Deontay Johnson is only on a 1-year deal, so there's no guarantee he's there long term. Same thing with Adam Thielen. Terrace Marshall is gone, and Jonathan Mingo didn't show a whole lot last year. So I think you want to make some more investment in the future in that wide receiver room early on.
Yeah. So because they did a little bit of everything in the offseason, there isn't a sense of urgency to get one position with them. Like we talked about, they got Robert Hunt, they got Damian Lewis at guard. They could still, and I put the guy in I put him in the thumbnail. What's his name? Amarius Mims, right?
Yeah.
That's somebody that they said could fall to him, and that could be a good starting tackle for you, right? If you get somebody, I think same thing with the Ravens. Even though for the Panthers, they made some improvements on the O-line, there's still possibly a ways to go. It's kind of hard to determine how bad they are because everything looked bad last year, and it can possibly be all the players are just that bad, right? Yeah. So we're talking about Ige Ekwonu, a top draft pick. Canales already said that, hey, he's still going to be the starter. We're going to give him a chance, which is the right thing to do. You have to see if he can play. But if he can't play, right, I think you need to have somebody else, up in line to take over there. But hopefully, even if he can, if it's just, hey, that was just a bad year, he's our guy moving forward, you still need somebody on that right side, long term.
Yeah, Daniel Franklin just asked as well, do they have a capable right tackle? And they do. They have Taylor Moton. But I don't think, like you said, Jose, I don't think he's going to be there long term. I think they're probably going to look to move on from him sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
They also have a bit of a hole at center. Right now, their plan is to move Austin Corbett to center. But he's had some injury issues, and he hasn't played much center at all in his career. So ideally, you'd want to get somebody in that spot as well. I think for center, they can probably wait until the third round or later to try and pick up a guy for that spot. But yeah, I think that if if they're sitting there at 33, there's a good chance that a tackle or would be the best player possibly on their board, and I wouldn't have any problem with that. But again, they do still need to really do their work in getting guys for Bryce Young to throw the ball to. If they're going to say, hey, you know what, we have Deontay Johnson for this year, we have Thielen for this year, we expect more from Jonathan Mingo, and we're going to really invest heavily at wide receiver next year. Okay, then you can go ahead and go wherever you want to go with that. Like Agent E has pointed out, they do need a safety. They released Von Bell. They let Jeremy Chin walk. They have Xavier Woods. They brought back Sam Franklin, who's more of a special teamer. But yes, they need another starter in that room. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that they can go. But like you said, it's not a real urgent thing to say, hey, we have to hit this position first, like it feels like in Baltimore.
Yeah. What's up, Buck? Safety is another good, and I think there'll be some. You'll definitely get a starting caliber safety right there.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, look, safeties don't generally go that high, right. But this is still a scenario where I think that if you can trade back from 33, maybe pick up an extra third round pick or something like that, or a fourth or whatever, get yourself some extra draft capital, because they do need a lot of players. They got to get the roster up to kind of a league average state, and they can do that or start that process in this draft and still get a really quality player there at 39.
Yeah, having that 39th pick really makes it easy for them to trade back and pick up more picks. So we'll see how they play it, but that losing that number one overall pick was not a death sentence for this team by any means. And having that pick in the second round, even before they got that 39th pick, we said, hey, you can do a lot with that. You can either stay there and get a very talented player there, or you can trade back and pick up some more picks and try to fill out your roster. And they can do that and still have a fairly high pick in the second round and get somebody there. They have to hit on the picks. Right. We'll see, how those players turn out. But
that's why I said ideally it's something like, I cross my fingers that J.J. McCarthy falls out the first round because he don't belong there. But J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, somebody like that who multiple teams are interested in, and maybe you could trade back and still stay fairly close to the top of the round. That would be the most ideal situation. But, that's the thing. They're going to have all night. Once that first round ends, they're going to have the entire, 24 hours almost to kind of weigh their options. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, they have a lot of needs. They need a starting corner as well. They could fill that hole right there at 33. So they have a lot of options. But like I said, ideally, I think they continue building that offense. Get another guy for Bryce to throw to, and maybe even some more protection as well.
So on Coach's show on Monday, okay, by the way, make sure you subscribe to Sip 2 Tally Films. Okay, you see Coach in the chat, okay, right here. There it is. Sip 2 Tally Films. All right. That's our guy right there. Right. We do a show with him every Monday. Us, Chris Just Joking from the Deep Cover Podcast, OTR Mike from Open Mike with OTR Mike, all right, and Hendo from the Road Pod. Okay, it is the Ravens Roundup. It's the best group of Ravens / Panther, because he's a Panthers fan, but Ravens commentary. You cannot find better on the internet. You cannot find it. All right, every Monday night 9 p.m. Eastern time is where you can find us. So go over there and subscribe. But Chris brought up a good point, because we're kind of looking at last year. We're reading an article from The Athletic about last year's draft class and how they were graded. And it's something to click on, because that's what we do in the off season. But he brought up a good point. Like, you can't really look at last year. Like, you have to go look at the draft classes from a few years, give them time to develop, and then see what it's like. What they look like. So it made me think. Okay, people brought up 2020. They brought up the Patrick Queen, draft, right? What did those classes look like? But since we're talking about Carolina, I wanted to bring up Carolina's draft class, right? Let's do a little trip down memory lane, if you will, okay? Because now we're about 4 years removed, Okay. So I have a list here. Okay. Iggy Ekwonu, number 1. All right.
Mhm.
You didn't have a second round pick. Third round pick, Matt Corral. Now he's doing this thing in UFL. Okay. He's doing this thing. All right.
Well, you're looking at the 2022 draft.
That's 22? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
22.
yeah.
22. No, we won't go back to 20. Oh,
So
sorry.
the
All
2020 draft, Derek
Brown. Good.
at number 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yatir Gross-Matos, not so great.
Is he still on the team? Or they...
No, he signed with San Francisco for about $8 million a year to go and be part of that rotation.
So you had 2 second round picks that year.
Yes.
Jeremy Chin.
Both gone.
He tricked us a little bit. He started out really well. Okay.
I hate that too, because again, he's another one of those players that got me to admit that I was wrong when I was not wrong. I did not like that pick at all. I said the dude can't cover.
We had arguments.
Want him. I said he's not even a great tackler, and he came in the first year and he scored. It seemed like 85 touchdowns. And I was like, man, you know what, Jeremy? I apologize. I was wrong. That was a great pick. And then he said, my job here is done, and he stopped playing football.
We were on opposite sides of the Jeremy Chin debate. I was all in on Jeremy Chin. So every week when he was scoring a touchdown, I was like, yeah.
Now, granted, I was wrong too, partially, because I said, hey, don't draft Derek Brown and then get Jeremy Chin. You could have drafted Isaiah Simmons and gotten Justin Madubuike.
Wait, how's I calling you out for?
Because you said Jeremy.
I wouldn't call you out, Jeremy. I wouldn't call you out. You know, you're cool. You're cool.
But, Derek Brown obviously has panned out
yes.
much better than Isaiah Simmons. Derek Brown is a great player. But yeah, they could have had Justin Madubuike and then just missed on their first round pick instead.
Just to be clear, like, because we were high on Isaiah Simmons, you know, and Derek Brown, we're kind of like, that's all right, but that was the right pick right there. They did a good job. Troy Pride, nope.
It's always an awful pick when you go to Notre Dame.
Kenny Robinson,
awful.
Big Bravian Roy,
that's a Matt Rule guy. Awful.
Yeah. Stanley Thomas Oliver.
Awful.
So what would you grade this draft class?
Awful. This is the year they went all defense. And again, if you hear the names that we just said, one of them has panned out. They had 7 picks. One of them is still on the roster from 2020.
You can't. Yeah. You can't have that. Looking at the Ravens draft class here. Let's see. Let's pull up 2024 Baltimore Ravens. Let's get it right. Okay. Now we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 draft picks. And I specifically wanted to say this one because somebody said in the comment, you got to wait a few years. Look how well the Patrick Queen draft went. Right. All right. Let's break it down. So B gives that draft class, the Panthers 2020 draft class, an F.
Yeah.
Okay. But your first pick, spot on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go to the Ravens. First pick, Patrick Queen. Yeah, good. Okay. J.K. Dobbins, good, but unfortunately, injuries. What are you gonna do? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Madubuike, good. Made to a second contract. One of the best tackles in the league. One of them. Right? Good. Devin Duvernay. How do you guys feel about the Devin Duvernay pick? This is so Patrick Queen in the first round, J.K. Dobbins in the second. We had 4 third-round picks. All right. The third-round picks were Madubuike, Devin Duvernay, Malik Harrison, Tyree Phillips. All right. So I'll help you guys out. Malik Harrison, Tyree Phillips, not working out. Not good. Okay. And I like Malik Harrison, but he's just for a third round pick, you gotta have more production than that. Madubuike obviously worked out really well. Devin Duvernay has been an All-Pro. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky. How do you guys feel about Devin Duvernay? I mean, not today, right? Because I know you guys are glad that he's gone, but like overall,
there he is. Hating ass Hendo. Dude was a waste.
Okay.
I feel like the NFL kind of played y'all a little bit with this one. Because Duvernay's not. It was a bad pick because he's not a good receiver, and you don't want. You're not looking to draft a kick returner in the third round. You're not. But he's a good returner, right? But then that doesn't provide any value because you never have to return any kicks. Every kick's a touchback, and teams can punt away from you pretty easily. And then the NFL was like, not so fast, my friend. The kick return is back. And right then, Baltimore lets him walk to Jacksonville.
Okay, so all right, let's go through the rest of the list because we're going to have a conversation about this. So yes, I mentioned the third round picks. Fourth round pick, Ben Bredesen. Fifth round pick, Broderick Washington, still on the team, got a new contract. 6, James Prochet. 7, Geno Stone. All right. What do you guys grade this draft class overall? And while you're giving your grades, I want to ask you what do you consider a successful draft pick? Right, this guy was a success. This guy we hit on that or we missed on that guy. Right, this is one of those draft classes where you can look at these guys and say, "Hey, this guy turned out to be pretty good. Well, this guy ain't bad. He was solid. We got some production out of him. But for me, that guy's got to make it to the second contract for it to be a success. Or at the very least, we got some solid production out of him. And that's like the lower picks, and he just priced himself out. Like, Geno Stone was the last pick, and people will say Geno Stone worked out, but did he work out?
I think yes and no. I think he's a 7th round pick. Right?
Yes,
so it's a good pick because you got anything out of him, right?
Yeah.
But again, they cut him twice, so it wasn't like, hey, we drafted this guy because we believe in whatever. But you get some credit. Even if it is just getting lucky, which is what they got with Geno Stone. I think when you look at James Prochet, that it was just a bad pick. As much as people love him, as hard a worker as he is, he just didn't provide anything.
I'll say that. I mean, like when you're drafting that late, you more than likely you're not going to hit on the pick, right? Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
That's true. Yeah, it does. I'm not saying it hurts the grade or too much or anything like that, but it just didn't work. Broderick Washington's a good pick. Yes. He's a solid depth at worst.
Yes.
And that's probably what you're aiming for in the 5th round. So like the end of the draft for Baltimore that year was pretty good. It was pretty good. 4th round pick with Ben Bredesen, that was awful. 3rd round pick Tyree Phillips was awful. Yep. Malik Harrison in the 3rd round was terrible. Devin Duvernay in the 3rd round was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So that's a really rough middle of the draft there.
Now let's look at 1, 2, and 3. Patrick Queen. He started out rough, wasn't playing that well. We traded for Roquan Smith, and now, we can argue he was playing better before Roquan got there. He was, but he really took off when Roquan got there. The reason why they traded for Roquan is because he wasn't playing up to expectations.
Yeah.
Now he turned it around. I think he is a good player, but was that a good pick? That's why I ask you guys: was he a good pick for us?
And this is where it gets tricky, kind of grading draft classes, right? Because if you just look at the list, it's a good draft. If you add in the context of it, Patrick Queen was a bad pick. You had T. Higgins go a couple picks later, which is where they should have gone. You let go of one of the top middle linebackers in the league in order to draft him. And he wasn't good for his first couple of years, maybe even 2.5 years. And like you said, it was bad enough to the point where they said, we have to take our 2nd round pick and trade for another middle linebacker and pay him because you have not panned out the way that we thought. And then he turned things around and is a good player, even a very good player. But with the context in it, it wasn't a good pick.
Right. And this is not, necessarily a easy answer. Like Rapid Assist says B+. He says Queen All-Pro 1 year, talking about last year. He was a 2nd team All-Pro. Very good year. But why didn't we re-sign him? Do you believe we should have re-signed him? If the answer is no, then it's a bad pick, in my opinion.
And this is why we say busted picks versus bust, right? This is, I think, a busted pick for Baltimore in the first round with Patrick Queen, but he's not a bust. He's a very good player.
Yes.
And I think that the Steelers got themselves a very good player and a good contract when they signed Patrick Queen, but it is a busted pick for Baltimore.
You cannot look at how the players are doing for other teams. What did they do for us? And I don't think Patrick Queen did enough for us, which is why he's gone, which is why we had to trade a second-round pick for Roquan Smith. So I don't think that was a good pick. And we said at the time, good player, bad pick. Right?
Justin Madubuike, that's an A. I mean, we can just kind of,
yes.
that's a great pick in the third round.
Absolutely.
J.K. Dobbins is another tough one because, and that's not on Eric DeCosta. He's an extremely talented player. I thought at the time, possibly the best running back in that class. I thought he had the talent to be one of the better running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then just major injuries really, really kind of derailed his career. And again, so that's not on DeCosta, but you have to look at it and say that's another kind of a busted pick for Baltimore.
Now Rapid says, okay, you're talking around it a little bit. He said, I think Queen is replaceable. It's a cost over expectation. I don't think the cost would be worth it. So why'd you pick him? Not you, but why did we pick him in the first round? Because we knew that on draft day. We said that on draft day that you don't draft a middle linebacker that high because you're not going to want to pay him. Why are you wasting your time with them? We didn't even pick up his fifth year option.
Yeah.
That's a bad pick.
It was a bad pick because they had a great player in that position, and it was a bad pick because they had a very good player right there in the tied with him on the board essentially, who they needed much more.
Yeah, no, I understand
to take him.
Yeah, he said that was a good pick at the time. No, I understand. Like people liked him.
Everybody thinks their picks are good at the time,
but he wasn't a good pick because his first 2 years he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough to justify that first round pick. Then we brought in Roquan. He had a good year. And last year he had an amazing year. So you got 2 years of production and you didn't want to, and it wasn't good enough to pick up the fifth year option. It's a bad pick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Madubuike, we franchise tagged him and then paid him a boatload of money because he's that talented. So overall, what would you give the Ravens for this draft class? And okay, Raptor says he put it out there. He said B+. What did the rest of you guys put? What would you grade this 2020 draft class?
It's tough. I would probably give it a C. And again, because you have two guys moving on to their second contract, and they just didn't get enough out of the guys who are gone for it to be much better than that, in my opinion.
I could give it a C because we did get something out of Queen, not as much as we should have. Dobbins just unfortunate, but we do think they got a talented player there. Madubuike is an excellent player. We got a little bit out of Duvernay because even though yes he was a third round pick, it wasn't the right pick. He was like the 20th wide receiver taken. We got a little something out of them and brought it with Washington. I think C is fair. I'm gonna be a little harsh and say a D+ because why the hell are you trading back to get 10 picks? And this is the best that we can say about the draft class is a C. And there was a lot of talent in that draft, and all we had to do is trade up. Now, originally
it's a whole lot different if you just swap Patrick Queen for T. Higgins. It looks so much better.
Or Justin Jefferson. We were in striking distance to get Justin Jefferson if we would have traded up. We had a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks. We absolutely could have packaged something.
Rapid says, do we account for what they will return in comp picks? No. This is nothing against you, Rapid says. Ravens fans, stop it with the comp picks. All right, y'all are the only ones who care. No, but the reason I would say no is because that requires that you sit on your hands in free agency for you to get those comp picks. Like they're going to get comp picks next year, right? They're getting several comp picks next year, but the cost is you are just doing nothing to improve your roster right now. So I don't think that that's I don't think it's a plus getting a comp pick for a player.
Well, let me ask you this: who are the best comp pick players we've drafted?
I think probably the best was Ricky Wagner.
They don't even know who Ricky Wagner is.
Like they've gotten some decent players.
Ricky Wagner
with
was
comp
good.
Picks. They've gotten some decent players with comp picks, but it's just as a strategy. It's another one of those philosophical things to me, and I'm just like, it's so ridiculous for you to make decisions on who you're going to sign based off of whether or not they got cut and are going to affect the comp pick formula. Because the absolute best that you get in the comp picks is essentially a top of the 4th round pick.
Yeah. Sam Cook. Okay. Yeah.
Hunter.
Wagner.
Nice.
Wagner and Cook. Everybody knows who Cook is. Half y'all don't know who Wagner is. Wagner was good for us. He was good for us.
Daniel Franklin says Adalius. Was he a comp pick guy? I thought he had come from I thought he came from like New England or something. But maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. Maybe. But I don't know if he was a comp pick. Did they even have comp picks back then? Comp picks is fairly new.
No, I think they had him. I thought that he had come from somewhere else. I'm probably thinking of somebody else though.
Like 17 years ago. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, yeah,
but again, these aren't, and we give EDC a lot of criticism for the way that they choose to run the team. Right? It's not even just about the decisions, the specific decisions that they make. It's just the philosophy behind it. But that's not the most. It's not the most damning thing about Eric DeCosta. That is what we're going to talk about right now, because this is a whole different area of debate.
All right, we got
about your GM.
We got 9 people in here. Hit that like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. All right, man, we got like 80 people over on Twitter. I got a couple people on Twitch and on Facebook. All right, it's a full house. All right, y'all here for the trial, okay? Because court is about to be in session. Yes, it is the court of public opinion. All right, where your opinions matter, and we put 90 people on trial. Okay. Yes, it's LBHT versus Eric DeCosta. I want to put people versus Eric DeCosta because I didn't want a whole, I wanted the course to be somewhat calm. Okay, because you got half the Ravens fan base that's on our side. You get the other half that are EDC defenders. Okay. All right. So the EDC defenders, they're going to be out there defending DeCosta. I think you guys know how we feel about Eric DeCosta at this point. Some of you don't know is I was a big EDC supporter early on. Yeah. Right. He wasn't doing the right things, and I said, hey, I still believe he's going to turn it around. I still believe in EDC. I still think he's a good GM. I still think he's gonna do right. I still think I should say all that stuff. Not anymore.
Yeah.
All that went out the window when he couldn't get Lamar signed before all that mishap last year.
Yeah. So in hindsight, probably should have uploaded the video. But
I
whatever.
uploaded it.
I think. Oh, no. Did you?
Oh, I did.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and bring that up then.
Okay, I will bring it up. I just didn't. I'll add it to later.
Before you do that, I'm just going to bring up these comments here. Thanks to Daniel Franklin and Drift Sports. They say Adalius went to New England after Baltimore drafted him. He worked in our system, didn't pay him. He left for the bag, and his career ended. Wrong scheme in New England. Thank you. I thought he played that. I thought that he had started there and went to Baltimore, but I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, so the title of this video is EDC said what? Okay, that's the title. That's the title I put in the stream. Now, some of you guys heard it and you laughed about it, but we have a different take on this. Okay, what did EDC say? He was at a pro day or something, and they asked him about do you ever feel bad about cutting somebody or trading somebody, and he decided to have some personality and tell a story. All right, so let's hear what EDC said. If I pull on the screen. All right.
We did have a situation a few years ago where I traded a player, and the guy was kind of an idiot, to be honest. And It was part of a trade. It actually was a great trade for us. We got a good player in the trade. He ended up being a great player for us. I was conflicted about trading this guy to the other team because he was a young draft pick, even though the coaches felt like this guy was an idiot. So I'm looking for him. I call him on my phone. I say, come up to my office. So he comes up to my office, and he's got an ice cream cone. So I say, why don't you sit down? So he takes the ice cream cone, okay, this is a true story, and he throws it towards my trash can, but he misses. It hits the side of the can, and it rolls on the carpet, and I have all this vanilla ice cream. And so, like, in a span of like 10 seconds, I go from feeling bad about telling this guy that I was trading him to like rejoicing. I was like, dude, I traded you to the Chargers, so to the Rams. And he was just like sunk in his chair. And I didn't feel bad for him at all, because just that act of throwing the ice cream cone was like so like lack of emotional intelligence that I was like, I couldn't wait for this guy to get out of my office.
Guys, true story. Somebody tried to throw something in the trash and he missed a trash can. Can you believe that?
Incredible.
I mean, he's such an idiot and he lacks emotional intelligence. This is coming from a robot, ladies and gentlemen. EDC just learned how to have humor and smile. You guys don't even know. You guys don't know the assistant GM EDC, right? You guys don't remember that EDC, right? Where you ask him a question. Yeah, we're looking at wide receivers, running backs, safeties, guys that can help the team, right?
He's really stepping out now.
I have a joke, guys. Why did a chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Next question.
So the thing is here. Okay, look. First off, like whatever. Yeah, it may have been dumb for you to be walking into the GM's office with the
GMs
walking into the GM's office with an ice cream cone and trying to toss it across the room into the trash can and whatever. But first off, like it's not your carpet, Eric. Okay? You're not cleaning that up, so who cares, honestly? But
right.
The real problem that I have here is you singling out a player and calling him an idiot publicly.
Yeah.
Because we all know who he was talking about. He's talking about Kenny Young, who they traded to the Rams as part of the deal for Marcus Peters. And he made sure that you knew who he was talking about by saying the team that he traded the player to.
Yeah.
Now, if he kind of kept it more anonymous, more vague, then okay, whatever. You feel how you feel about people. I'm sure there's a lot of idiots in that building, right? A lot of people he doesn't like, a lot of players that maybe kind of rub him the wrong way or whatever. But I don't like the coaches, GMs, etc., kind of throwing players under the bus like that, talking down about players in public, because players can't do that to them. If a player ever does that to the coaching staff, to the GMs, they get crucified in public. Case in point, Hollywood Brown. The Ravens fans did not like that he called out the coaching staff about not using him, right? And to this day, they hold that grudge against Hollywood Brown, because honestly, he's been the best receiver on the team since Lamar Jackson's been in the league, and a lot of Ravens fans still hate him for that, right? It's just this whole culture of, hey, you can't call out these guys. These are your bosses, blah, blah, blah. Be professional. Keep things in-house is a big thing in Baltimore, unless you're talking about someone who you didn't like personally and you're the GM, and I guess you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, and because he's a GM and there's a lot of people that defend defend the corporation, right? They just laugh along with it. Oh, ha ha ha! Yeah, good story, EDC. Oh, he got him right. But you can't tell a story about a coach. I have one, right? I have one he could have told. There was once this idiot coach. I'm not going to say his name. He was a strength and conditioning coach. He got everybody sick, right? And he used to get players hurt all the time, to the point where they're on the verge of suing us. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was just a real idiot. I was glad when we finally fired him. Can you tell that story?
I got a story too. There's once this GM who had a Pro Bowl right tackle who said, "Hey, I want out." Still under contract, right? And that Pro Bowl GM said, "You know what? Okay, we're going to go ahead and trade you, not replace you. We're going to end up signing Alejandro Villanueva to put on that right side, even though he was cooked on the left side and had never even played on the right side. And then Ronnie Stanley gets hurt, and then you got to move him over to the left side, and he's just been terrible all season long. That GM is a real idiot.
Hey, right? I have another story. There was another coach. We're not naming names here, okay? This is all anonymous. He was an offensive coordinator, and players and analysis and former players of the team used to say that his play calling was extremely predictable. And then they used to play his plays on the screen and show examples of, see, this play is this play, and then he's going to run it again a couple plays later, and it's the exact same play, and he didn't hide it or cover it up or anything like that. He's running the exact same play, and the defense is calling out his plays. Can you tell that story?
I mean, I suppose he could, but I don't think he would like to tell that story. I've got another story about a GM. Again, we're not naming names because that's not how we roll here.
Right.
But it was a GM of a pretty prominent team, right? A team that had an MVP quarterback, a team that was expected to make a run to the Super Bowl, but a team that was kind of lacking in talent at wide receiver, right? And instead of going out and making a trade for a proven wide receiver or signing somebody in free agency or even going in the draft and getting a really talented player there, this GM, kind of an idiot to be honest, just said, hey, we really like our young players. And then they went into the season and they proceeded to have their top wide receiver be a guy who they signed in free agency, who had been cut twice that year, who finished the season with 458 yards. That guy was kind of an idiot.
Yeah, but at least he ain't throw his ice cream cone on the ground.
True.
Bam.
Big time facts there, because that's disrespectful. But we want to know what y'all think. Is it fine for Eric to just call out former players like that, or do you think maybe he should be a little more professional in the way he's talking to the media?
Is that the current poll, or is that from last?
No, I think I gotta. Let me see.
See if you can reset it. But I'm gonna go back and read some comments here. Just Alan says, "Can we skip the part where we find him guilty and just punish him?" Okay, all right. This is the leader of the organization. That's what Hendo said. That's right. This is the leader. Right. Ivy saying says, why the disrespect? Yeah, and everybody's laughing at that. All right. I mean, what Hollywood did. Oh, you got a donation. Shout out to Money Making Mitch for the $5 donation. Read that when you get a chance, please. And if you guys don't know what that animation is, that is our microphone man doing the Park Heights strut. Okay.
There we go. So go ahead and type in #guilty or #not guilty. Let us know if you think that Eric should have been a little more, a little classy.
I'll put this in the middle,
as they like to say.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So #guilty, #not guilty, and we'll get the punishment going here pretty soon because I know how this is gonna go.
Money Making Mitch says, I would pay top dollar to see EDC call that player an idiot to his face. Probably would piss on himself.
If he did that to the coaching staff as well, I'd say fair game. He just says what's on his mind. He's telling you how he sees it. But we know for a fact that he had idiot coaches on in the building. We know that. We've had multiple players call out those guys. He won't talk about that though. But you talk about a player who had minimal impact on the team. There's no reason to call him out. None, because you want to tell us a funny story that wasn't funny, but you get a bunch of bootlickers that laugh at everything that you say. No, man, it's not worth it. Especially during the time where you're not doing a good job.
Yeah. And you can use that to distract from the fact that you didn't trade for stuff on the day.
Shout out to Brandon Bazel for a $22 donation. No comment. Next question. #guilty. Okay.
Thank you, Bazel. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna adjust the volume on that too, because It's a little loud. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. If you guys are wondering how to get in these animations, okay, that's how we do super chat over here. Okay, I know some of you guys have noticed. Hey, the super chat button is grayed out. We do it differently here. Okay, you see the QR code right under B. That takes you to our Cash App, $LBHT Show. Also, there's a pin link in the chat box that takes you to our Streamlabs page. Okay, it works the same as super chat. Click on it, leave your donation, leave your comment, and you get a nice little animation like that on screen. We'll read your comment on air. That's how we do super chat here. All right. Also, if you're interested on the Patreon, which you should be very interested. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. For as little as $5 a month. We have $5, $10, $20, and like a $60 tier. All worth it. You get different perks, right? Perks like my LBHT crew coin here. All right. You get one of those. All right. For the $10 tier. For just $5 though, you can be a part of the overtime show, which is what we're going to do right after this show. I didn't put up the promo, but yes, we're going to be talking about nepotism with athletes. Okay, we're going to be talking about that in the overtime show. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. We'll talk about Racey Rice going on the run too, because we're not going to have time to get to that in this stream because we gotta wrap it up. But all right,
we gotta get a move in here.
That's what I said. We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah,
Patreon.com/LBHT Show.
It's 8-0 guilty. I see some more guilty in the chat. You got to put hashtag in front of it if you wanted to register on the poll. But it seems pretty clear the people are siding with us on this one, and Eric is in fact guilty. Okay,
all right. And the punishment is throw stones at him online in Twitter. Okay, stone him publicly on Twitter and wherever you see people trying to defend this buffoonery. He's having a terrible offseason so far. He can still turn it around.
Yeah.
But right now, okay, we got not big stones, little stones.
We're getting pretty close to 28-3 in the Super Bowl. But yeah, there's still time. Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to the submitted questions.
Okay.
And up first, this one is from Urban Closer MJ. Do you think that Lamar has the freedom in this offense to win the Super Bowl, in your opinion?
Okay, yes, but that's not necessarily a good thing with this team. Freedom means we don't really have a plan for you out there. We just need you to go out there and save us. Okay, so yes, he has freedom to go out there and do whatever he wants, but that's the plan. The plan is, Lamar, make things happen with your feet, because we're not going to draw up a good enough play for you to win it, right? We need you to go out there and do it. That's a terrible plan. But yes, he does have the freedom.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has the freedom. And I wouldn't even say necessarily it's a bad thing. Like, you want your quarterback to be able to kind of to make the game their own, as it were. But they just don't have the talent right now.
Yeah.
That's what's really holding back. Not the freedom, it's the talent.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next submitted question. This one is from Jeremy. He mentioned this in the chat already. He said, what do you think is going to happen to Racey Rice? Real quick, I think he's going to get a suspension. I think it's probably going to be a 4-game suspension for him. But
okay. So me and B, we had a nice long discussion about this offline. I thought we were going to have more time to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on the overtime show more, right? First of all, did they fine him yet?
Well, he said he's cooperating with the police. He retained counsel and he's cooperating with the police right now.
Okay. Yes, I can see up to a 4-game suspension. All right. Well, we'll leave it there, and we're gonna break this down even more. Okay. And this is very major for me because he's on my dynasty team. I need this to be resolved ASAP. Yeah. So we both think 4-game suspension.
Yes. 1 second. Mitch, I see you checking your points there. I'm trying to find you in the list. You're not showing up at the moment, but I will make a note to make sure I add your points later if it doesn't come up right now.
Money making Mitch?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put that down. Money making Mitch. Okay, we will make sure you get your points because this is for prizes. Okay, so the points are important. If we read your question on air and submit a question segment, you get points. All right, and the points lead to prizes at the end of the month. One is a prize that you get to choose. The other is a $25 Amazon gift card. All right.
Yes. Next up, we've got.
That is a notebook, Hendo. I learned it from you.
From our guy Jay, is the LBHT universe becoming the greatest collection of keeping it real podcasters of all time? That is a bold statement, and it is an accurate statement, Jay.
And the answer is yes, it is.
Yes.
So that's something we need to discuss too. Okay. Yes, we built a crew, and we said one day it would be an army. Now it's a universe. But we're talking about all of us, right? Obviously it says, dude, you got a composition book.
Hey man, they're cheap.
I got 5 kids. Yes,
they're cheap and they are reliable.
I have a whole shelf full of these.
They come in a bunch of different colors and everything, man. Like, you don't talk bad about the composition.
I got crayons, markers. What you need, dog? I got it all right here. You need some paper? I got you. Next year, when back to school comes around, hit me up. I'll hook you up. Okay, I have it in abundance.
I'll do our last submit question because we got to get it going because we can't be here for 2 hours.
Okay, but hold on. All right, this crew that we're talking about. All right, just so we're clear, us, Rogue Pod, Open Mic OTR Mike, Chris Just Joking. Okay, Coach Evans for Sip to Tally Film. That is the crew, right? We got to come up with a name. Okay, it's not just the LBHT crew. That's our family right here. That's our community. But the overall, because we form like Wu-Tang. Okay, we need a name for our group. Okay, I mean we're the roundup. We're the Ravens roundup on Monday, but we need to come up with a name. So work on that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, next.
This is from Shug. What is the worst thing a person can put in their bio on a dating app? This one kind of depends on what dating app you're talking about, right? Because some of them, the worst thing could be, I'm looking for a relationship. Some of them could be, hey, I want kids, something like that. But, it kind of depends on where you're at, because they all kind of cater to a specific demographic at this point. They're all kind of niche.
I got the answer. Okay. I mean, I haven't really done these dating apps, forever, right? Since I don't want to date myself back. The one I used back in the day, but I didn't have any grays in my hair when I used it. But do not, if you're a woman, do not put all the things that you will not accept or that you don't want. I don't want a guy that you gotta be at least 6 feet tall. No facial hair. Can't have no kids. You gotta be at least this. And don't ask me these questions when you message me because I'm answering these questions right now. Don't do all that. Right. The whole reason of asking questions is to get to know somebody. Yes, it's a conversational thing. You might have answered it already, but you're starting a dialogue with somebody. You're getting to know. That's part of having a conversation. And if you say, look at my profile, I answered that question already. Okay, delete. You're wasting your time. So that's the answer to that. Okay. What's next?
Next, that is the last submitted question. We were going to talk about the women's NCAA tournament, but we got to probably move that to the overtime show.
Yes.
But I will just say a fantastic series of games this past week. If you're not watching, you really, really, really should be. We do have a trivia question. So I'll put that up, and then we got to do the drawing for the $25 Amazon gift card. And then my favorite thing, we got to get out of here. So question. On this day in 1983, USC defeated Louisiana Tech in the women's college basketball championship game. Who was then named the most outstanding player for the tournament?
Oh.
So while y'all are thinking about that, we're going to put up the prize wheel.
Googling. Okay. All right. This is for the $25 Amazon gift card.
Yes.
To qualify for this, you have to hit at least 1,000 points. So these are the people that hit 1,000 points. All right. So let's spin this.
Spin it.
I actually like this wheel. Hendo.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I guess congratulations to Hendo.
Run it again. I think something.
Oh, well, never mind, Hendo. They said run it again.
Hendo won, man. We got to give it to Hendo. That doesn't count.
Now Suge is going to be very upset. So thank you for that. But congratulations to Hendo. You won the $25 Amazon gift card. Our overall winner for this month was Brandon Buck. So again, congratulations to him, and thank you all so much for your support.
Yes.
Buck is going to let us know, whenever you decide what it is you want as your prize, you let us know, and we'll get that out to you. Hendo will get the card out to you ASAP as well.
Yep.
And see, it's already happening. Sugar's already losing it. He's already losing it in the chat.
So, like I said, all you have to do, and you have people that donate consistently. We really appreciate you guys, because that's what keeps the show running, the donations and the memberships, right? But if you don't have money to spend, that's fine. You don't need to spend any money to rack up points. Jeremy, make sure he's active in the chat. Being active in the chat gets you a lot of points. Submitting your questions and we read it on air gets you points. Going to our website, LBHTShow.com, and signing up for our newsletter will get you points. So all you got to do when the box pops up, ask for your email address, put your email address in there, send us a message, DM us, email us, however, and tell us, hey, this is me. Sign up for the newsletter. Give me my points. That's an automatic 1,000 points. So there's all kinds of ways that you can get points for free and qualify for this. All right.
We do have 3 correct answers in the chat. I'm putting I'm giving the points out right now. But congratulations to Hendo, to Suge, and to Just Aloe, who all answered correctly with Cheryl Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Most outstanding player in 1983.
All right, there it is. And we'll talk some more women's basketball in the overtime show. We have a lot to talk about in the overtime show. This was a fun show. It went a little bit over. We had some other things that we wanted to talk about, but we were having a very good conversation. So go over to patreon.com/LBHT Show, and that's where we can keep the party going. Okay. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right. If you have just $5 in your pocket, and I know you do, you can be a part of the overtime show. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about nepotism with athletes. Okay. We talk about nepotism in sports in regards to GM, front office, coaching, and whatnot, but we don't talk about the athlete part of it. All right. What are you reading, B?
I'd be saying pouring salt on Suge's womb.
Wound. This is the promo here.
Oh, man.
That is the promo. That's what we're going to be discussing. All right. We know who the first person is. Brodny James. Brodny James. Okay. That is LeBron's son. Who is the other one? He plays at USC as well. He's a wide receiver. Do you know whose son that is?
You're going to be very, very familiar late April if you're not already.
I'll give you a hint. He's the son of the GOAT. Right?
Allegedly.
So, yeah. Well, yeah. No, he's a GOAT. He's a GOAT. I mean, we make arguments with other people, but he's widely considered the greatest wide receiver of all time.
He's widely considered the greatest player of all time.
That is true.
Period.
That is his son.
And well deserved.
Yeah. Now, we're going to discuss that. We have a lot to break down in terms of this. This is a very good discussion here.
That's how Al says. Is Brodny even good?
We're going to talk about it.
Fun fact. Don't know.
Don't know. He could be. I don't know. We're going to discuss that. All right. That is the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All right. Man, Twitter has really been popping lately. I don't know what's going on over there. But, all right, follow us on Twitter. Okay. Hit that follow button. If you everybody that's watching on YouTube, subscribe. Twitch, the 4 or 5 people that tuned in, follow and share with your gaming friends. All right. Facebook, same thing. Give us a 5-star review if you're listening to us on the audio side, and definitely share that out. Anybody that you know listens to the podcast, share out our information. We're trying to grow that side. Sign up for that newsletter. That also helps us out as well. There's all kinds of ways that you can support this show. Make sure you're doing that. All right. Okay. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
He is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Patrons, get ready. The Overtime Show is starting right now.
And like I said, isn't Frank Gore's son in this draft? Listen, there's a lot of sons in this draft. A lot.
Go over to patreon.com/LBHT Show. We're going to talk about a few things over there. This is going to be a fun episode. All right.
Yes.
Go sign up. All right. Everybody, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Peace.